Hi everyone, my name is Basel Moukaskas, and this is my partner Julia Craig. We're third year university students at the U of A who are passionate about public health and improving overall student well-being. Today we'll be presenting to you our Think, Don't Overdrink campaign. A fun fact about us is that we both lived in Lister residence at the U of A during our first year of university. We had tons of fun and made a lot of great friends. However, we also witnessed the catastrophic effects of living in a culture that celebrates excessive alcohol consumption. That's why we designed this project, to combat binge drinking and therefore make residence a safer place for everyone.
Binge drinking is defined as a pattern of drinking that brings the blood alcohol concentration to 0.08 grams per deciliter. This typically occurs after consuming 5 or more drinks for males or 4 or more drinks for females in the span of 2 hours. Binge drinking is on the rise, and it causes significant harm. In Canada, in 2015 to 2016, there were 77,000 hospitalizations for alcohol-related injuries and 75,000 hospitalizations for heart attacks. That means that there were more alcohol-related injuries than heart attacks. As you can see, excessive drinking puts a significant financial toll on our healthcare system.
Binge drinking is especially popular on university campuses. One study collected from more than 8,000 Canadian undergraduate students found that 60% of them binge drank during the past 15 days. Binge drinking is no laughing matter and has dire consequences. Such include lower grades, injuries, sexual assaults, overdoses, memory blackouts, changes in brain functions, vehicle collisions, lower occupational status, and long-term physical and mental health outcomes. So, if binge drinking is so bad, why do students do it?
Research has found that what drives many students to excessive drinking is peer influence and the desire to feel socially accepted. To reduce binge drinking, more must be done to target the underlying cause. That is, peer influence and a campus culture that normalizes, even celebrates, excessive alcohol consumption. If more students and residents come to recognize binge drinking is dangerous, they will relay those feelings to their peers and transform drinking culture. Students will no longer feel that drinking to get drunk is necessary to fit in.
Meet Joe. Joe's a first-year uni student living in residence. Like many other first-year students, Joe is struggling with the transition from high school to university. His grades are lower than what he's used to, he's homesick, and he's struggling to make friends and fit in. Joe drinks excessively to impress his peers and thinks that the more he drinks, the more people will like him. Joe constantly blacks out and loses his memory in order to fit in with the perceived in culture. This has further harmed his grades, his safety, and his overall mental health.
Joe lives in Lister Residence, which is a first-year residence at the U of A notorious for heavy drinking. It is the largest residence on campus, housing around 1,760 students. It is pictured here. Interesting history about Lister is that in 2012, the University of Alberta banned drinking in common areas following a number of binge drinking incidences. According to this article, there were reports of residents forcing other students to drink vomit and one man having his pelvic area lit on fire. Despite these changes, binge drinking is still a problem at Lister, as excessive drinking is wildly popular in students' rooms in all 4 towers. The purpose of this project is to reduce student binge drinking in the University of Alberta's first-year residence, Lister. This project is important because binge drinking causes significant harm, including poor academics, injuries, cognitive deficits, and long-term health consequences. By reducing binge drinking, we will create a safer campus community and improve student success at the U of A.
When students move into Lister in September, they undergo a week orientation to campus called Base Camp. During Base Camp, they participate in info sessions, campus tours, and social activities. 99% of students would recommend Base Camp to their peers entering university, and over 89% of Base Camp participants felt that the program made it easier to make friends at the U of A. Of the roughly 3,000 students that stay in first-year residence each year, nearly all of them take part in the Base Camp experience. So, our novel approach to reducing binge drinking in residence is drinking games.
To kick off our Think, Don't Overdrink program, we will hold a 1-hour info session. This session will be interactive and engaging. To educate students on safe drinking practices, we will show videos, have discussions, have a guest speaker panel, and use online polls so that we can ask students to vote and provide feedback during the presentation.
After the info session, students will compete against other floors in a game show style contest. Game show questions will come from the things they've learned from the info session.
Part 3 of our Think, Don't Overdrink program will be bartending! All students will have the opportunity to take part in a bartending/drink mixing class. They will be taught how to make their favorite drinks while learning the standard amount of alcohol you should put in one beverage. Instead of pouring in half a cup, students will know how many ounces a shot really is. This knowledge will help students abide by safe drinking guidelines.
To finish off our Think, Don't Overdrink program, students will take part in what we like to call Bar Wars. In this activity, students from each floor will compete against each other to make the tastiest and most aesthetic-looking drinks. In addition, students will earn extra points by speaking to the healthy drinking practices associated with their drinks, based on the type and percentage of alcohol used.
In the top left corner, a typical base camp schedule is pictured. We will work with resident services to implement our Think, Don't Overdrink program into 2 afternoons of base camp. This is pictured in the image on the right. Our program will only take a few hours, yet it will still provide students with the tools they need to develop safe drinking habits.
Like other base camp activities, student buy-in will be deemed mandatory, as all students are led from one activity to the next by their resident assistants. Students will collect points for their floor by using the things they've learned at the game show and Bar Wars. At the end of the competition, the floor with the most points will earn a $30 food voucher for each student on the floor to any food place on campus. The floors that earn second and third places will also earn a pizza party for their floor.
So how will education and safe drinking games make an impact? Well, literature shows that games have a positive effect on learning. Games improve student engagement, motivation, and satisfaction for learning. Ample evidence supports that interactivity in educational presentations improves learning and retention of information. Games plus a prize incentive will increase student interest and engagement in our program so that we reach a large audience. Games will also increase retention of safe drinking knowledge students learn in our program. Students will participate in our program the same week they move into Lister. Our program will establish a safe drinking standard right away in the first week of September, thereby creating a safer campus and preventing alcohol-related injury, accident, and death.
Think, Don't Overdrink is socially innovative because it uses an out-of-the-box method like drinking games to decrease binge drinking and evoke real change. Our program will serve as a catalyst to get students concerned about binge drinking and help them to choose to enforce safe drinking practices on campus. During the startup year of Think, Don't Overdrink, we will pilot this project with resident services who will approve and fund the initiative. In future years, we hope to work with the U of A governing body to acquire 1% of profits from alcohol sales on campus to fund this initiative at base camps annually. We'll work with resident services and resident assistants to permanently implement this program into base camp. Based on the success of the project, we hope to reach out to other post-secondary institutions nationwide to implement this program and reach millions of students each year. Remember Joe? This is him now after going through the Think, Don't Overdrink program. He knows the difference between healthy and harmful drinking practices and realizes that he doesn't need to drink to make friends. Joe understands the dangers that binge drinking can have on one's physical and mental health. Overall, Joe's grades have improved, he's more confident about who he is, and he's making friends that like him for who he is. Joe will carry what he's learned with him for the rest of his life and help to end society's stigma around alcohol consumption. Thank you all for listening to Think, Don't Overdrink. We hope to see you all at base camp next year.